We live in a trash world. Everything is fake and gay. We exchanged a high trust Christian society for a crime ridden, ugly one. I hate it, and every sane person should be doing something about it. Our society is becoming increasingly more degenerate, with sexual deviancy on display everywhere. All this is done on purpose. The powers that be put this on display and then act like you're the crazy one for thinking it's all stupid. Their objective is to demoralize you and use every opportunity available to them to spit in the face of their creator. To me, the way out is clear. We need to return to the old ways where men were men and women were women. Women should be modest and dress well. Men should display strength and be loving protectors of those placed under his care. Modernity might as well be feeding us glowing radioactive sludge with what's on the shelves these days. We are truly lesser sons of greater men. They give birth control to young girls, which completely screws up their hormones for the rest of their life. Young men, they fare no better. Food is packed with soy and microplastics that turn them into a whimpering low-T beta male. I'm painting a bleak picture, but you can fix this. Do what your ancestors did. Work hard, spend time outside, eat good food, preferably grown local, and if your girl's on the pill, find that bottle and throw it in the fire. Compare what my ancestors built in Switzerland and Germany compared to what is being built today in modernity. I believe buildings reflect the souls of those that build them. Johann Wolfgang said, "Architecture is crystallized music," and I agree with him. Whoever that is. Everything today is made flat with no detail, made of concrete, aluminum, and glass, with the sole purpose of killing your soul. The souls of the designers of these buildings must have came straight from the pit of hell. They are so ugly. This problem is only able to be solved with the will for things to change and the resources to make it happen. Young men are in a rough spot. There's no conquest to be had, no new lands to discover. Men were created by God to take dominion and order the world to the good, the true, and the beautiful. Modernity doesn't want young men functioning to their fullest potential, because if young men were, they wouldn't be able to get away with the shenanigans that they currently are. I would say they wouldn't even be in power. So, what do? They give young men video games and football. Now, those things aren't wrong in and of themselves. It just depends on what you want with your life. I want my great-great-grandson that never met me to be proud of his lineage. I cannot achieve this by being obsessed with video games and football. So it all comes down to what you want. Do you want a high score on a video game? Or do you want your great-great-grandson to be proud to be a bearer of your last name? So, what should we do if there is no conquest? We can't exactly rediscover America or reconquer the West, but there are options available to you to take dominion as a young man. I would recommend build a business. Make lots of money. Build a beautiful home for your wife and hopefully many kids. Make sure it's a beautiful classical home. Then, hand your land and businesses down to your sons so they may carry on your legacy. Then you, sir, would be a modern-day king of your own kingdom. The products of modernity reflect its values. It places its value on instant gratification with no regard for the future. The men in the pods buy the flashy new toys or whatever's new on the credit card And then as soon as that breaks or becomes obsolete, they're on to the next thing. The cry of the pod man is consume, consume, consume. But what he doesn't believe what he's consuming is garbage, because his masters told him he should like the garbage. Society then tells him that he's evil if he doesn't like the garbage. Most products today are cheap, plastic, ugly, and disposable. I don't think most people understand or even realize the importance of surrounding yourself with beautiful quality products. Take this suit for example. It is tailor-made silk. I got it on eBay. But this is like a $2,000 suit. I got it for $70. It feels good. That's real nice. Tailor-made, man. Next time you need a piece of furniture for your home, buy a used piece of furniture made in the 1800s rather than some garbage from IKEA. It's probably going to be cheaper as well and last longer. I know I've made that mistake. We are modern day slaves. Our forefathers were able to keep their wife at home while they were able to provide a good living for their family. That is becoming increasingly harder as the years roll by. The boomers sacrificed an intact family unit for a few points on their national GDP. Meanwhile, everything has gotten more expensive, while simultaneously becoming worse in quality, forcing you to buy the same thing more often, further lowering your purchasing power. And when money gets tight, the wife goes back to work. This has been absolutely devastating to the family unit. Somebody else ends up raising your kids, namely the government. The government will raise your kids to be submissive pod dwellers, even if you're not one. The way out is to resolve in your heart that the government will never raise your kids, and work your butt off to make that happen. I'd recommend starting a business, trying to make a little bit more money, as this problem is most easily solved with resources. The deck is stacked against you on purpose, and that should make you angry and should drive you to action. Many men today have no close friendship. Men, they need comrades. They need somebody that would show up at 2 a.m. with a shovel and ask no questions. Our slave masters want us to be disconnected atoms, floating around with no community. If you have no close male friendships, that should be very high on your priority list. You need friends that will encourage you and also have a similar worldview as you. And also, please make sure you get some masculine friends. You don't want to be friends with Carl from Mr. Beast. Stop it. Get some help. We were placed in this time for a reason. Us as men. God could have placed us anywhere at any time, but he chose right where you're at. That should give us hope, because that means you're the man for the job. I say, grab modernity by the collar, give it a swift kick out of your life, and do what your ancestors have always done. Your life will be much better. Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?